Asmara is the capital city of Eritrea. Eritrea is the oldest new nation. Located in the Horn of Africa, Eritrea borders with Ethiopia to the south, with Sudan to the west, and with Djibouti to the southeast. Eritrea also has a Red Sea coastline of over 800 miles. Asmara has been given a lot of accolades by both its residents and visitors. Beloved city, city of details, secret modernist city, walking city, charming city, city in the clouds, safest city in the world, and many more. Asmara welcomes, accepts, and makes people at home. Asmara is a city that is made to be lived in. It cannot be narrated. Journalist Andrea Semplici. Andrea's observation might be true, but one thing is for sure. The combination of Asmara's past and present history, its culture, and most importantly, its people, make Asmara a city of radiance.
Around Asmara, there was a culture from, say, about 400 BC to about, from 800 to about 200 BC, which was an urban agricultural settlement. They were keeping cattle and they were growing crops, but they were in conurbations all around Asmara. This culture was discovered by some Italian amateur archaeologists and then professionally examined by the new generation of Eritrean scholars.
Asmara, the pronunciation, Asmara, is the European version, the Italian, the English version. In Tigrinya it's Asmara, and Asmara means they united. It's in the female gender. They united, the women united. And what did they unite? The story goes like this.
Asmara
Original settlers in Asmara, in what we know, the metropolitan Asmara, were descendants of 4 families, of 4 brothers. And because of their own little feuds, they decided to live in separate little hills that are in the outskirts of Asmara. You know, the land still belongs to these 4 clans. And because they were living separately, they soon became victims of various attacks individually on each one of them by other people coming from outside, supposedly pagan, without religions. They claiming that their ancestors had become Christians long before these attacks. And so this became a common phenomenon where one village would be attacked and it would have the benefit of any assistance from the other villages, and it would suffer. The turn of the other village comes, and so on and so forth. And this became this became problematic, and the women couldn't stand it. Their children were dying, they were going to war, and so on. So at some point, women assembled in somewhere, the story goes, and agreed amongst themselves, the women only, agreed amongst themselves that they would go back to their houses the same evening and refuse to cook for the men. They refused to give food to the men, dinner. And if the men became aggressive or started to hit their wives and so on, one woman would scream, whoever would be attacked would scream, and all the other women in the village would scream, and then that scream would be heard in the next village, and the women in that village would scream, and so on. So it became contagious. All the women in the whole village would scream. So that's what happened. Somebody demanded for food, the woman refused, she screamed, the other women in the village screamed, This was heard in the other village, and all women in 4 villages started to scream at the same time, frightening the men out of their wits. So they asked them what the problem was, and then they told their problem. They said, look, we have been demanding, asking that these villages unite and choose a place, come down from their little hills, little refuges, unite and form a stronger, united village. And the men agreed. And so they came down from the little hills that you see around Asmara, and they collected in the vicinities of what is now the Asmara cemetery, and forward this way. And so they united there, created a bigger village, became stronger, and started to defend themselves more effectively. And for that, the Asmara became known as Arbate Asmera or Asmara, the women who united the 4 villages. This is the background to the story of Asmara.
يكالو أباي أزياء كربة حدا رازقيات بال هجينا وعليك زي أبيهر تباهي لله 4 أسمرا قدم نندا مريم كم زجير الخبيب واينيرو ده حرقن كبتن دلملن سلسنا بدو دماني ويوم جزاء سيزنبرو بزيه إنه بقول سخاتكم إنه الكذا أسيد ختمها سلزخونة سخاتكم قعزنا بزيلهم من كعب دماني تماسيحهم بعلاتهم مريتهم رستم سلزخونة تماسيحهم كأنا زبرت صدمة جزا اسمع بزيه جزا سرنسر بزيه جزا شلele بزيه جزا غروتم بزيه لهم كأس عندها جبريل بعلاتهم أصبح فيهم
تغلق إيش من قشة إدمي 84 يخيل الله ماشم أسمرا 5 كونت النيرة أبوتاتنا ناب دماريام كله تزوح هذا ينيرو ولا ختمو ولا عدو كابزين مسقع عليهن إندا تبازحه أسمرا درجة 4 أسمرا خوينا قبزي بزحي ناتا كم بزح 4 قبل كله سير 4 أسمرا ذي يكونس ك4 جزية بزحي جرا كتم أسمرا عندنا خا 4 أسمرا خاني كابتوز نبرتو درجة 4 ونساون وسخة كم زيلا مع بلا زلا مبرك أدم كابزي جزا خنيشة لا قدماو من اللي كتبهال الساعة غدواد يعني غدواد كلا ركبنا الله مالتي ما يوحجنيرو بوبل خين تحتي كاترا أما مسكونات كنا حيالي عمتات كوينو عند سلطنة كم زنو ولا زلنا توزيع مدبرنا الأكاديمية الأكاديم مدبر ب10 و4 مش عند 900 كوتور دشيا أسمرا خو بعوز كله الساقة تسريحة 4 أسمرا خو بعوز كله الساقة تسريحة
مقوس سغلاي مالت أدمي 8 حدن زعوا ختم أسمرا أنت داخل زارب كل الناس ختم أسمراس أبزناتي أدمي زوركم كله ختم وعدينيرو وين كم تزورو نقص أي عزيز سماي حنجيز كم زبال كبابنا مريم كفتن طريقتين سلبيس حصل لازنا ورقب إذا ختما خون سلزقون سخاتكم كابز قتلهم كم تقدم بالياي بولو مريتهم سلزقون كابز ب4 ما أنت تماق لهم كزوم سريعهم وقمة لهم كم تقدم بالياي بالكو إذا ختما خمسي كون نيرو جي سفيه زلوا كويس ختماس إذا عدنا كمان كم زين بلن لوي لذي عزله سلذي نقف عنا سبعين إذا عزله ختمه
زي لومي أنت جرنا هذا ينايم زي زعاد رئيس وخونا نقدر زي زعاد رئيس وخونا نقدر كنزي لا ده يبنا خلونا سي كم زي عجقين
حريقني أسمرا خميني راي لهم حاجتهم أبادي يباري أيوه مصوم تسامعنا
يبغى الله
The cathedral, locally known as Catedrale, is one of the main landmarks of the city. It was built on the site of the former San Marcos Church. The church was built in 1923 and was designed by Oreste Scanavini in the Lombardian style. The church can be seen from any part of the city. Because of Eritrea's proximity to the origins of the world's major religions, Eritrea adopted Christianity and Islam in the 4th and 7th centuries, respectively. The harmonious coexistence of the major religions is evident throughout the city. Every morning, the city rises to the sounds of church bells and the call of the muezzin. Asmerinos are seen visiting their respective houses of worship at any time of the day. Both Christian and Muslim religious festivities are major national holidays and are celebrated colorfully. The director of this film asked poet and artist Ermias Ukbey to paint and write his feelings about Asmara. Artist Ermias, who lives and works in Asmara, painted this beautiful painting and divided it into 8 panels, which he calls
Asmara by day and by night. Like the colors of the open mercato, in uniforms of Berbere red, lemon green, shro yellow or jacaranda blue, the shouts and sprints of school children, our city, my city, your city of a modern light and test, sings the twilight with stepping horseshoes, accompanied by evening bell from the grand clock tower, and laughs with vibrant flowers on stout tarnished fences.
okay, I'm not alright. Eritrea questa bella.
Like workers in the morning, weaving the streets with bicycle wheels and ladders on their shoulders, giving life a fresh meaning. My city, your city, our city of a modern light and taste, smiles with old bricks, open and closed windows, patinated doors and iron gates glint allusion of ancient masks, telling mysterious anecdotes.
Caravanserraglio is the former name of Medibur. Caravanserraglio refers to a caravan enclosure, a caravan stopping center for repairs and supplies. Today, Medibur is the recycling center of Asmara, whereby junk is turned into usable treasure. Medibur is also a center where red peppers crushed into berbere, a spicy food ingredient that is found in Eritrean diet.
Sitting in a theater before the film started, enjoying the high ceiling with fairies hand in hand, crying and laughing, ribbons and peacocks floating and dancing. Though the hippo-jawed balconies were not uncomfortable, the Roman relief masks and dancing female nudes take one to a mythical land where heroes and immortals dwell on existential deeds.
Eritrean cinema is currently blooming. Posters of upcoming Eritrean films are advertised in the cinemas. Italian film posters from the 1970s adorn the walls of some of the cinemas.
بس جميعنا زلنا بفيلم يخون بفاشن شو بس مو العالم كن فالت انت كنا بهلنا خلق قبل كلالنا
ما عسكم تيلك بحشو ما انت معلتي ايه ولا حنت انس داير كين يركدي
Well, I don't know. I grew up here. I live here. And I love Asmara, of course, and it's very difficult for me to say what is so different about it. Asmara has a certain psychological hold on the people who grow inside Asmara. It's an elevated place. It's a very it's in the right in the highlands of Eritrea. The climate is extremely good. It's never too warm, never too cold. When it rains, and then as you see now, it was raining. You don't see a trace of the rains after a while. It just clears out. The sun comes out. It's all beautiful. But Asmara was also built by the Italians as a showcase of Italian architecture for the world to see. There's always a controversy on whether we should really be proud of Asmara because built by a colonial power and what we have to show is colonial architecture. But we are very practical about this. Let's face it, this is an extremely well-organized, beautiful, with large boulevards, Art Deco buildings. And the best that Italy had to provide in the 1930s, specimens of it exist here. And why not? Why not like it? Why not be proud of it? It went through a lot of experience under the Italians. Our fathers could never walk the streets of Harnett Avenue. They could only pass through the byways because there was an apartheid system in Asmara. It went through the period of the Derg. Lots of killings, lots of bodies sprawled around along the streets of Asmara. It went through a lot. Asmara epitomizes, I think, the struggle, the dream for independence, the struggle, the dream for independence, for beauty, for peace in this whole country, in this whole region. And I think as a reward for all that Asmara had to suffer, miraculously, during all these wars, especially at the end of the conflict with Ethiopia against the Derg, nothing happened to Asmara. It was preserved as it was. I can say that Asmara perhaps is one of the safest, most beautiful cities in the whole of Africa. No crimes on the streets, people fraternizing everywhere you go. It's also a place where people mix freely. Muslims, Christians, there used to be Jews, there is a Jewish synagogue, all the religions are represented. There is an Indian funeral pyre. It's a place where people mix and feel free to walk around, to just fraternize, to enjoy. And so that makes Eritrea, I think, as Asmara unique. It's very difficult for me to really give you a comprehensive reason, something that makes sense, but that's it. That's what Asmara is to me.
Asmara بغليل زيت جمال كل العاسية كاتدرالي صلانا ساعات مزدولا
One of the open secrets of Asmera is its driving school. Almost all of the cars are Fiat 600s or Seichentos. In the early morning of a driving test day, the Seichentas congregate like roaming tractors farming the land. A last-minute recap for drivers to be. In the late morning, all the last-minute recap is put to the test.
መጀመሪያ እዚ ተቆሪጹሎ እዚ ተቆሪጹ ዛመብራህትን ውሽዓት ያላ ምክንያቱ ኣብ ግዜ ሓደጋ ከይህረም ኢልና ካላይ እዚ ናይ ሓደጋ መከላኸሊ ኣብ ዘለና ካለ ሞዲፊካሪ ኮይኑ ዘሎ እዚያ ናይ ፍሬቻ ብሰለስተ ቦታ ኣለዋ ስፔኪዮ ለና እዚ ባልና ዝገበርናዮ ካለ ኣብዚ ናይ መኪና ቅርጽ ኣለዋ ዛ መኪና بخلاي أبز فريشة لنا موديفيكار زخونة إذا دما كمو كجاجو كلن تقريصو نوش أتيلو إذا باراول تلنا كابا حدا جاز دحين
Sitting in a cafe on a terrace of high building, watching beautiful faces was not uncomfortable, but the eyes and spirit ran all the time to the nocturnal carpet of the city, parallel to the surrounded hills, where the suburb shanty houses displayed as shelved books, illumined by pearl lights like candles in a church at a sermon on holiday eve.
Cafes are important aspects of life in Asmara.
أراك أدم نستم الكام ستنا ناتساوتنا ناس حقنا كنستيون كنعلن خلنا دس بلنا نيرو حج قاتهم ستنا حليفهم مزنزلونا أشتنا بزنا تساوتو ناس حقو خدو خلو نعوم نارينا خا نحبس
Before the evening passeggiata, or stroll, for which Asmara is famous, some Asmarinos go to the outskirts of their city to observe Eritrea's beautiful sunset.
Walking down by night on pavements covered with lifts, goldened by the street light, the sound of one's steps echoing an angel behind. Neon lights over sleeping shutters flash the street with radiance. Palm trees tickling the eyes of the three-story buildings makes the floating moon shy, that hanging like a balloon, and the hidden night queen sending her fragrance from gardens unknown.
ኣስመራ ጽብቕቲ ኣስመራ ምጩቲ ኣተዓባብያና ጽቡቕ እዚ ከተማ እዚ ከመይ ዝኣምሰለ ከተማ እዩ
Every May 24th, Asmara's passeggiata is transformed into a human sea to celebrate Eritrea's independence from Ethiopia in 1991. Asmara radiates more every August when the city holds its annual cultural festival. The festival lasts for 10 days. The festival originally started in Bologna, Italy in the late 1970s by the Eritrean diaspora to preserve their culture and maintain their ties with their homeland. After Eritrea's independence, the festival was moved to Asmara. The festival is held at the Expo Ground. During Ethiopian occupation of the city, especially under the brutal Ethiopian military dictatorship, the Expo Ground was turned into a prison and killing grounds. Now it's the epicenter where Eritrea's zobas or provinces showcase their regional, diverse, and rich cultural heritage as well as development progress.
Selam bölüleye, selam bölüleye, nafqaluku, tedegu tedegu, way tedakuru ye, gos qotegu. Selam bölüleye, selam bölüleye, nafqaluku. Tedegu tedegu, way tedakuru ye, gos qotegu. ኣብርሃት ብርሃነ በሃል ናይ ባህላዊ መሳርሒ ናይ ኤርትራ ይፃወት ማለት እዩ ሳሃት ኣንዲ ፃወታ ክራርያ ክራር ታብ ኤርትራ ታ ቀንዲ ባህላዊት መሳርሒት ንሓንቲ ካብተን ባህላዊት ማለት ምስ በዓል ዋጣ ሻምብቆ መለኸት እምብልታ እያ ግን እታ ብብዝሒ ከም ኣብ ናይ ባህሊ እታ ብዙሕ ሰብ ዝፃወተላ መንእሰያት እውን ዳርጋ ሒዞማ ትቕፅል ደላ ክራር እያ ተን ካልእ ቁሩብ ድሕሪ ኢለን ኣለዋ ድስዕበን ኣይረኸባን ሓያል ባህላዊት መሳርሒት እያ ክራር እዚኣ ቁሩብ ምዕብል ኢላ ዝተሰርሐት እያ ዛ ሕጂ ሒዝያ ዘለኹ ክራር ተናይ ቅድሚ ሕጂ ዝነበረ ክራር ብሓደ ሜጀር ዝፃወታ እየን እዚኣ ግን ኩሉ ዓይነት ከም ጊታር በዚ እንዳቐየርካ እንዳወረድካ ትፃወተላ ትኽእል መሳርሒት እያ ኣነ ከዓ ከም ባህላዊት ምስ ክራር ደራፊት
As part of its show and tell treat for tourists, the Eritrean Railway Authority presents one of its revived steam engines. The steam engine transports people within the expo ground. After being idle for more than 3 decades, the steam engines were revived by retired Eritrean conductors and engineers after Eritrean independence. These steam engines have attracted many tourists who are flocking to Eritrea. During the 10-day festival celebration, over 400,000 people visit the expo compound. Over the past century, Asmara, named in honor of women who united 4 small villages, has grown into a city of radiance.